Okay.
And I used to do this with Rhino all the time.
Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. On either side of me are Geneva grads, Jason Colangelo and head coach Gino DeMarco. Now, I'm not smart enough to be a Geneva grad, but I get to have the pleasure of broadcasting Geneva football games, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And of course, we have some big high school games coming up. Geneva gets their bye week this Saturday, and Jason, I don't know. We'll talk to Coach about it. I don't know if that's a good time or a bad time. For the injuries, surely a good time. If he could get more running backs, especially on the field, when they go to Case Western Reserve in Cleveland a week from Saturday. Emotionally, we're going to bring that up to the coach, but I'll tell you, what a difference in 2 weeks. 1 week, you almost beat an undefeated team of Washington and Jefferson, and then last week, nothing seemed to go right against a team that's only lost by 1 point in Grove City.
Yeah, we all know, and we knew coming into that game what a challenge Grove City presented. But you're right, Bob. Almost from the start of things, it just had that, you had that feeling that things were going awry, and I was concerned coming off that emotional letdown at W&J because, you know, I think you and I talked about it. Geneva had that game won, and it's a tough thing to be on that emotional high and watch it slip through your grasp, and then have to kind of pick yourself back up off the deck to get ready for a Grove City. And the thing about this conference is, it used to be, oh yeah, we can take a breather now. It's not a big deal. Not anymore.
Oh no.
Because they just keep coming at you. You know, there are some teams that are down at, but a lot of teams fighting for that top level of supremacy, and Grove City is certainly among those teams.
Well, Grove City has vastly improved in recent years under the direction of Andrew D. Donato. Coach, I'll bring this question to you. Jason and I kind of mimicked this. You had the hard loss. You were up 14-0 against Washington and Jefferson, a nationally ranked team, and then it kind of slowly and surely slipped away from you. You lose 24-20. After that loss, 7 days later, you're on the road at Grove City. How do you think most of the players and like you and your coaching staff handled that defeat? I know you've been through it a lot, one way or the other, as coach for 29 years, but for young players in high teens, low 20s, how do you think that affected them, or did it affect them going into the Grove City game last week?
Well, I think we left the W&J game with some confidence. And truthfully, Tuesday was a lousy practice. And, I tried as much as I could as a coach to tell them what we were getting into. But I think the confidence from playing W&J, I never really thought about the emotional letdown of having that game won and giving it away. But this other thing was, we had just played this team, whatever it was, 5-6 months ago, and handled them fairly well. I honestly think that I did a real poor job of getting our guys ready to play a rival and getting a guy and the kids to play and forgetting about what they had done the week before or 5 months ago. I mean, I was very nice during practice, and that's usually not the case.
Coach, in watching this team play over the last few years, it appears to me that they are a team that feeds off of being at home, the emotion of the crowd, especially on defense. I get the sense, and I don't know, Bob, if you agree with this, or I don't know, Coach, if you will, but they feed off the energy of playing at Reese Field. And when they get on the road, we see a lot of times get off to those slow starts, and it's almost like it takes them a while to kind of get comfortable in the surroundings. And sometimes you kind of dig yourself into that hole and you can't dig your way back out of it. What is it about? I mean, I know that we have the benefit and the luxury of having a great place to play home football. But how do you guard against not being able to take that energy that you have at home and replicate it on the road?
Well, I think the thing is, if you look at the two games that we won on the road, we were in command right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So the players, the team's playing with a lot of momentum. The two games that we lost on the road, we got off to a really bad start on both sides of the ball, and it was evident from a defensive standpoint at Worcester and surely at Grove City that we didn't recover. I mean, everything that I preach to our kids about physical play and being physical from the moment you step on the field and to take control of the game, to get off to a fast start, that very thing happened to us both times this year on the road. And for whatever reason, our response, I think our response at Worcester was decent, but we had no response Saturday. There was no response. There was maybe, I don't know yet what I look at in that game film, if there was anything good that came out of that.
Well, the Worcester game was one heck of a football game. It was
Right.
punch, counter punch pretty much all night long, and I never really got the sense that either team had a firm grasp on things. But you're right, Grove City just seemed like they seized command of it, and they never relinquished it throughout the whole night.
Coach, probably what you're saying, because you lost the game by 49 points, and I'd like to believe you're a lot closer to being 4 points inferior to W&J than 49 points inferior to being to Grove City, because those teams will play later on, and I have a feeling it's going to go right down to the wire. But I don't know. I think you responded okay. The Hilton McClain touchdown return made it 14-7, and then Grove City strikes right back. But so do you. You have a nice drive going, but right before the half, the clock runs thin. You were without a timeout, and it just and you got nothing out of it. And I'm not saying that meant, oh, this game's going to get out of hand now. I just kind of felt that you needed points there, and the players seemed to take that into the locker room, because when I saw them come out in the third quarter, at least from my estimation, they just didn't seem like they had the same wherewithal, and the third quarter just got away from them.
The last 2 minutes, the last 4 minutes of the half and the first 4 minutes of the second half really say a lot about the game, about any game. So if you look at what happened in the last 4 minutes, I mean, we go down. Unfortunately, we miss a field goal, and at least you get 10-something out of it, right? At least you get a field goal. And at worst, it's 21-10. And then at the end of the half, we're down there. On the scoreboard, it's telling us we had so many timeouts, and let's just say we mismanaged that totally. And I'll take full responsibility for that, because at least you would hope that we could get 3 more out of it.
Yeah.
So then you come out, but let's give them a lot of credit. They come out of the locker room, they get the ball, and they go 5 plays, the ball's in the end zone, and now you got the difference of the momentum now has shifted totally. And that to me, that 8-minute period was the game.
The other thing that we see from time to time with this offense is if they can get some longer drives early on in the game, it really does help your defense. Because one thing about this offense, it can possess the football when it is running efficiently, and you can have it for 7 to 8 minutes. And I don't think people really get an appreciation for what that does for your defense. Because when you have those successive 3 and outs or whatever, and you're right back on the defense and you just gave up a touchdown, that's a tough thing for a defense to have to manage and come back from.
And that was the whole idea of implementing this offense, is that we wanted to control the football. If we control the football and control the time, then we got a chance to get the game into the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is you got to win on special teams. What happened Saturday is we missed 2 assignments in the first 3 plays in our option game that really put us behind the sticks. We're 3 and out, and Jason make up a great point that, with their offense as explosive as it was, should we have just huddled and ran the clock?
Yeah,
But the week before we're playing a defense that's really good, ranked in the top, in the top of the country against the run, and we're pushing the ball down the floor, and so. Yeah, the way we're running this offense now is we are trying to get a gauge between setting up for a shot and running the clock, or pushing the ball down the floor and trying to do that.
And it appears as if you've had the opportunities now that we're starting to attack down the field through the air. We're
Right.
seeing that more and more now with guys. Peyton Shell had a couple of big
Yeah.
slants for big yardage. And, of course, now you've got some home run hitters, speaking of McLean, of course. So it just seems to me like that slow start, when you don't establish that run, those things are harder to come
It really is. They really are. You got to establish one thing, and you got to be balanced. And I really felt like, up until that game, that we were starting to get an identity of being able to push the ball down the field, and throw it down the field. We're actually using our tight end now more, and that's something we've never done.
Yeah.
So we got the pieces in place. The issue became our adjustment during the game to what they were doing, and quite frankly, I think physically they did a great job up front, and we didn't move too many people off the ball.
Well, when we come back after this first time out, we'll talk about the bye week, the opponent next week, and what Gino DeMarco and the team have to do to get back on the right track after losing 2 in a row to maybe the 2 best teams in the conference. Time will tell. But, of course, Westminster deserves some
There's a team up the road that
they're pretty good, too. So we better be
And
nice
I
to
guarantee
them.
you they're watching it right
that's
now.
right.
So,
That's true. Yeah, that's
Scott, we think you guys are pretty good.
You did beat Grove City by 1, so you're in the conversation as well. We're going to take this first time out. We want to thank our producer, Malik Garrett, tonight. And, of course, Pizza Joe's, who provides the refreshments every week. Coach, I know you've eaten a lot of Pizza Joe's through the years.
Well, the funny thing is, I've been on a diet now that prohibits me from actually eating floured pizza. And I'll go up and I'll get a gluten-free pizza from Jimmy, and it's,
No plastic either, Coach?
it's all gluten-free. I mean,
Well,
I'm
you know
still
what?
trying to I'm
We
trying to
won't-
hope that
We won't spread it around. You can cheat tonight.
the thing is, I'm hoping that this diet brings back my eyebrows and my hair.
That could be.
We'll take this quick time out. We'll be back with more of the Coach's Corner with longtime Geneva coach Gino DeMarco after this on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
There's something for everybody this semester at CCBC. Whether you're leveling up a career or launching a new life, CCBC has got you covered. In fact, CCBC is straight to you. Your local library is now a CCBC classroom. Build career skills and earn college credit right in your backyard. Check out credit and non-credit classes starting in the near future. Click ccbc.edu/fall for more information. Right place, right time. CCBC is right where you need them this fall.
Did you know that the Grand Valley Inn was voted #1 best overall restaurant in the Best of the Valley Reader's Choice Awards 4 years in a row? Grand Valley Inn also has a fun family trivia night Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. The Grand Valley Inn is the place where you can also find the best live music under the heated tents. Call 724-843-9000 for more info or to make your reservation for Air Force One on October 8th for only a $10 coverage charge. Grand Valley Inn. Good food, good friends, and good entertainment.
When you're a superhero, you got big responsibilities. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. The Aquamen and Aquawomen of the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority really do look after the needs of the community, just like real superheroes. The service we provide really is super, and the dedication of our workers can only be described as heroic. We just don't always wear spandex suits and capes. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, and I'll keep the water on for you. Click bfwater.net.
When you're looking for the Valley's best eye care, look to Gazzetti Optometric Services, 212 State Avenue in Beaver. Dr. John Gazzetti has over 40 years of patient care experience, including exams, contact lens fittings, cataract, glaucoma and dry eye management, laser vision correction, and sports and sun eyewear. For your best vision, make the best decision. Call Gazzetti Optometric Services at 724-774-7559.
Returning to the Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio, Jason Colangelo, our producer Malik Aaron, I'm Bob Barrickman with longtime Geneva head coach Chino DeMarco, a Beaver County Sports Hall of Famer, the all-time leading winner in Geneva College football history, and all-time leader in years of service with 29. So that says pretty much. That being said, Coach, I know last week was a very tough one for you. Now you go into your bye week. From an injury point of view...
Before we get into that, Bob,
okay.
The Beaver County Hall of Fame did call after that performance.
Oh, they did?
They want the plaque back. And now I'm waiting for New Brighton to call again, and they may want their plaque back too.
Oh, I think
the Italian coaches, they're a little bit more patient.
Until they find out you're pasta free now.
Yeah, they probably would want that one back too.
Yeah, they can't.
So,
well, I think the Hall of Fame committee realizes, hey, anybody can take their lumps, and if you've been in this game long enough, it's going to happen to the best of them. I'm sure Vince Lombardi got blown out somewhere along the way.
yeah, maybe at home.
Yeah. Coach, and I know this, I don't want to sound like, hey, we're making excuses, but you have been shorthanded at running back. Gino Mavero's played very little the last couple weeks. Jaden Zuzak hasn't gotten on the field. He seemed like he was really coming into his own to be a nice compliment for Tyler Lippiad. Dakota Allen, the leader of your defense really for the past couple of years, he gets hurt in the W&J game. I'm sure, does the off week mean that maybe you get all three guys back, or maybe not?
Well, Dakota, unfortunately, tore an ACL, and he's going to be out for the year. It's really sad because the kid's, it's his senior year. We sure could have used him. We've had a number of injuries, especially like you said in the backfield, including the position of quarterback. I think that's hampered our success greatly. And then defensively, people don't realize that we lost one of our best football players early in the season. One of our best defensive backs. But you go through the season and you understand that injuries are going to be part of the game. And up until this point, we've at least tried to be competitive, but we don't have that extra that extra gear in the backfield. I mean, Amos is one of the toughest kids we've ever coached, but I don't think he's operating at 100%. You know, so
Yeah.
so the speed of what we normally would have is, yeah. This week definitely, without question, is helping from a health standpoint.
I feel like, at least from what I'm seeing, is two things are happening with this program. Number one, I'm seeing a lot more younger guys contributing quicker than they used to. And number two, I'm seeing a lot more flat speed, just speed all over the field. Is that something that, I don't know, Coach Marco, I've watched you coach more football than any guy that I've ever watched in my entire life. So I feel like
I feel bad for you.
I feel like I have a sense, like I've always thought of you as a guy that wants to see people earn playing time. So I know these guys aren't just getting thrown in there because they have to earn it. And it seems to me like you are recruiting to get faster, and you want these guys to be immediately contributing. Is that the case, or am I correct?
Well, I think the thing that's changed in college football is you're seeing younger players with talent, even at the Division I level, get on the field.
Yeah.
And that trickles down to D2, and it trickles down to D3. I mean, and I understand the whole idea that, you know, a freshman shouldn't play, but if that freshman is better than your junior or, you know, senior, especially during these last 2 years in COVID, you know, we're putting freshmen on the field. They've got great speed. Their athleticism is evident. Game experience limited. And football IQ is something, college football IQ is something that you have to build. And that's why most coaches won't put a freshman on the field.
And I see it manifest itself defensively. I feel like I've always got the sense that you were the defense was always fundamentally sound, and if you were going to beat us, it was going to be a 12-play drive. Now you're more of an attacking style, and it's trying to utilize that speed, generate turnovers. It's not, we're going to sit back and you're going to have a long drive against us.
You know what? And back in the day, you know, when we had solid defenses, we would just keep the ball in front of us.
Yep.
And, you know, if we had that attacking approach against Worcester, we win that football game.
Yep.
So we started to put third down packages, and we started to do things like that to get that quarterback to move off the spot. The simplicity and the standardization of the Grove City offense to protect their quarterback and max protection prohibited us from being able to do that. The other thing is you get an All-American receiver, the likes that I hope we never see again, who catches anything that's thrown 10 yards within his radius, because the kid's 6'4.5", and his wingspan's like that of a 727.
Yeah.
But we just starting to learn more and more that pressuring the quarterback and trying to get him to make a decision is beneficial. And you're right. We were pretty much, you know, let's just stay in our base stuff, keep the ball in front of us,
Tackle.
bend but don't break.
Yep.
Let the other team make mistakes, and they did. Right now, we don't have the luxury of some of the offensive and defensive linemen that we had before, and that's probably the biggest difference in the program. The kids that we have right now, we love them, and we've developed a system to utilize what they do best. And unfortunately, it's speed on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Our offensive line right now weighs less than any time in the history of me being the football coach there, but it's because it's based on speed.
Yeah.
Gino DeMarco, our special guest. Coach, from an emotional point of view, after a lopsided loss, what do you think the mood of the team is? One school of thought would be, we want to get out on that field and play an opponent right away, and we want to get that bad taste out of our mouths. The other school of thought would be, we need a break. Mentally, we need to get away from the football field. I know they have to practice. You can't give them a whole week off. But what's the mood right now? Do you think you sense that, boy, why does this have to be a bye week? or do you think they welcome the bye week?
No, I think honestly that this time, because of the injuries and because of the situations that occurred, I think this bye week comes at a great time for us physically. The tough thing is, as coaches, and especially with me, is getting back on that field to show that wasn't who we really are. And you own that. And I took full responsibility in front of our football team for it. But today at practice, we were on the field, and if anything was out of the ordinary, we addressed it. If anything was subpar, it was addressed, and it'll be the way tomorrow. So it's basically, we are now focused totally on Case. We're on to Cleveland, and we are absolutely making sure that this will never happen again.
One of the things that I think too is that you're dealing with guys that are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Their resiliency is way, way better than ours. I mean, I can remember being in the dorm with those guys, and you have a tough loss, and you think about it, but you don't dwell on it at that age. You just go on and get ready for what's to come. I think that, Bob, you and I mean, I know to me, when Geneva has a tough game like they did against Grove City, I'm coming home and I'm bummed out. These guys are young men. They just wash it off and they're ready to go.
Boy, I hope you're right, Jason. I really, and I think you're right too. It's us. But there were so many of those 14-13, 16-14 losses to Malone over those years that were like, it would you wake up in the middle of the night and you feel like you got hit in the baseball bat. With this one, with this kind of outing, honest to gosh, I didn't even feel like coming down here.
Yeah.
I felt like calling the government, wanted to be in their witness protection program, because I don't want anybody to see me with what I did with that football team and the way I coached them and got them. I didn't get them prepared at Grove City.
You're looking at one of the most competitive guys that we've ever come across here, sitting next to you.
There's no question about it.
That's a hallmark.
He wants to get back on the right track, and I'm sure he will. Well, Jason, I know as we go into our next break, I know that you needed to get away from football after the Geneva loss. You're going to Myrtle Beach tomorrow.
I'm teeing it up.
Okay. Well,
it's football season.
But you know
I
what?
waited
How
for the
are
bye,
you?
Coach.
How are you doing this?
I waited for the bye.
But I'm not rich enough to go to Myrtle Beach.
It's
But
not that expensive.
getting to cover high school football is priceless,
That's
and we
true.
have a couple good ones Friday night. Cornell and Rochester fighting for the top spot in the Big 7. That's our game on WBVP, 6:30 airtime. Jim Eccles will join me for that one, and Mike Azadian and Eddie Crow. They have a good one. Montour at Aliquippa on WNBA, and that's a 6:30 airtime Saturday. The top-ranked team in 2A, Stowe Rocks, unbeaten 7-0. They take on 6-1 Western Beaver. Airtime at noon. Jim Eccles joins me for that one. Thanks again to Pizza Joe's for providing the refreshments. I don't care what Gino's diet is. I'm going to have some Pizza Joe's maybe after the show. We're going to take this time out. We'll be back with more with the head coach of the Golden Tornadoes after this break on WBVP, WNBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live.
Believe it or not, you can celebrate an international occasion without leaving Beaver County. This is Cindy Hiladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. That's right, we are celebrating International Credit Union Day on October 21st. Come in and find out why credit unions have played such an important role in providing financial services locally and around the world. Meet me and my friendly staff. Click friendlyfcu.org or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on. When you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112, they'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
The Express Lane would like to remind everyone that a happy car is a healthy car. No one wants to be stranded on the side of the road. That's why your vehicle's routine maintenance is so important. The Express Lane offers great specials that saves you money. Hurry in for the Super Oil Change Special. Includes oil change, rotation, alignment check, multi-point inspection, and car wash. The Express Lane, oil, tires, and service center. Located next to the Beaver Valley Auto Mall.
And we return to the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. Coach, even though last week's loss was very tough, at least you have an opportunity to rebound from a loss. But the Geneva family cannot rebound from the loss of arguably the greatest icon in not only Geneva sports history, but Geneva college history, period. The passing of Charles Chico Data last week, just a huge loss. He touched so many lives, and I know that you're indebted to him. And very tough loss. It just it was a loss that that the Geneva family will remember the memories and the good things that Chico Data did. You can't overcome that kind of a loss.
No, it's been a tough 6 months in that regard. Losing Dr. White that one was tough, and this one with Chick, with Mr. O was really tough. And both of them were committed to Beaver County. Both of them were committed to going beyond themselves and trying to serve people. The thing with Mr. Odata and the thing with Chick was that he always had an idea. He was a guy that he was ahead of his time. He was a visionary. He was a guy that would take chances on kids. He was a guy that would sit down and talk to anybody. He was somebody that, as a student I talked with. As a coach, I talked with, and after he retired from Geneva, I would go see him, of all places, the Wendy's in Beaver, where he hung out at noon almost every day. And his brother Gary, I was very, very close to, and still am. And I have the shout out for my brother Gary Odata, because, boy, Gary did an incredible job of recruiting for us, and I know he's taken it hard. We lost a great man.
When you think about Chico Data and Dr. White, you can't have any better advocates or representatives of Geneva College, and no bigger proponents or no bigger people to have in your corner from a football program standpoint, because both of those guys always ever present, and just like you said, I think innovative is a great way to say it. Just what they brought and how they elevated the program, both in their own way, is just, you can't. Every program should have somebody like those two guys.
He was a visionary, and he did so much for Geneva College. I'm grateful for the president that we have now, for Calvin.
Yeah.
Calvin is, somebody from the area. Loves where we're located, embraces the responsibility of this area, played football, and Dr. Traup is doing a phenomenal job, and he reaches out in similar ways like Dr. White does. But not having Chick is it's tough.
In the last few years of his life, I got a chance to work with Dr. White a little bit from a business standpoint, and it's amazing to me the personal connection that these guys like Chick and like Dr. White that they were able to make with everybody they came in contact with. They can look you in the eyes and make you feel like you're the
Yep.
most important person in the world when you're having that conversation with them, and yet they're so important and they're such huge figures in,
Right.
in life generally. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough loss, Coach. That's all I can say. It really is. I every time I go up to the booth on Saturdays, I'm looking around to see Dr. White because he was there all the time.
All the time.
Always had something great to say.
It was
Well,
a tough
yeah.
loss.
Well, there'll always be a 50-yard line seat in that better world from up above for Dr. White and Chick O'Data.
No doubt.
Back to something that is mundane in comparison, trying to win a football game. You have Case Western Reserve. Now, this might not be the Case Western that we're used to seeing, a team that's in the upper echelon of the conference, but anytime you have to go to Cleveland and you have to wait a long time to play them after the loss to Grove City, this is a game, would you agree, Coach, with not that any game's a given, but the schedule softens up somewhat, at least on paper, with Waynesburg and Teal before your showdown with Westminster at the end of the season. This game, to me, I would think would shape the season one way or the other. This is a Case Western game that if you play your game, you come out on top. But if you don't play your game, it could easily be a loss, and then the complexion of the season would be, well, what have we done? What have we accomplished if we have?
I agree with you, Bob. I really do. I mean, one of the things that we have to do is hold on to the football. And I was talking with you about that earlier. We gave Grove City 4 extra possessions inside our 35-yard line, and that can't happen. I will say this: Case Western is a great football program, and they are still the reigning champs. I know that Westminster won that in the spring, so technically they are. But Case won it when we had a full 10-game season. And I know they just had an off bye week. So I know Greg has gotten his guys together, and they got a young team, defense, and COVID, like us, wasn't very kind to us. For some programs, they were able to bring back their kids for a 5th year. We didn't do that, and Case didn't do that.
Coach, tell me this. I assume and I hope that Drew Sexton's eligibility is over.
Oh, he's still there.
Oh, he's still there.
He's still there. He's still there.
And he's playing?
And he's playing, and he's still slinging it around the ball yard.
You know what? He's a South Fayette product.
Yeah.
Beaver County high school teams had difficulty with the Brumbaws, and now it's coming over to the collegiate level with Drew Sexton and Case Western Reserve. So we can't get away from South Fayette's issue.
I'm going to, you know what, if I could, and I don't know if I'd want to, but I just want to, I'm going to be happy when he graduates. I mean, he's going to he's going to have a great job, and I'm going to be so happy for that kid because I'm going to be happy for us. But they still have him, and they still have a receiver that's preseason All-American. So this is 3 weeks in a row that we face someone at receiver that's preseason All-American in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio.
We talked a little bit about this in the broadcast about the conference as a whole elevating its level of play. I read an article recently that said they ranked the D3 conferences 1 to 21. I think there are 21 D3 conferences, and the Pac was ranked like number 9,
Right.
which just a few years ago that would not have been the case. It does seem like you get the sense. Now we do have some teams that are still struggling, but as there's a larger group that week to week anything can happen between 6, 7, 8 teams now, whereas before you pretty much could go. You know how you do this when the schedule comes out: win, loss for all those teams.
You do that. I've never done that.
I do that as a media guy. But what I'm saying to you is it's less predictable now week to week because I just think there's a lot of good quality teams now. It's not a foregone conclusion.
Every game takes on its own identity, and what I mean by that is that week becomes the season, and you may one week as a coach find out that you've got 5 or 6 kids that tested positive for COVID. So
Yeah.
no matter who you're playing, now you gotta
Changes everything.
you gotta change everything.
Yeah.
And you may have a week where, you know, your quarterback broke up with his girlfriend, your backup quarterback, you know, is injured, your third quarterback is your B-back, and you don't know who to put in, and Bob Berrickman never took a snap under center. So that really puts you in a bind. So what I'm saying is, like, I know you guys like looking at the schedule. Van, my athletic director, Van, does it all the time. It drives me nuts. And you guys put this, and this. I mean, in our mind right now, Case Western is, to me, a great football program, and they are not going to be on that Saturday at 1 o'clock when we play them. They're not going to be the same team they were earlier in the year. They're going to give us their best. They're going to be their best. And as a coach, as a competitor, and I think this is something our kids have to learn. You got to expect that the team you're playing is going to give you their best effort. And that's probably the takeaway from that miserable Saturday up in Grove Borough.
We're going to take our final time out, and we're going to talk more Geneva football. And we appreciate Geneva's support through the years. It goes beyond Coach Gino DeMarco, Van Zanik, the sports information director from years ago, now the athletic director, Cheryl Johnston in charge of marketing. I mean, there are a lot of people who work behind the scenes that make it work for Geneva College and Beaver County Radio. And of course, we mentioned a couple of those people earlier, Dr. White and Chico Data. It's a nice marriage, and we appreciate having Geneva on our side. We'll take this final time out. We'll be back with Coach DeMarco on Beaver County Radio.
Welcome to Beaver Valley Auto Mall. It's the best place to get a great deal on a really nice car. Our selection is amazing, especially right now. Search hundreds of vehicles at beavervalleycars.com. Find the one you like and schedule a test drive. Our expert staff and convenient location make the buying process easy to navigate. Every car is thoroughly inspected, and we'll keep it healthy with our first-class maintenance center. Buy here and service here. Become a Baba Beaver believer at Beaver Valley Auto Mall.
Did you know that the first Oktoberfest celebrations were held in Munich, Germany in 1810? That's right, for over 200 years, Oktoberfest has been one of the biggest and most popular celebrations of the year. This year, Oktoberfest comes to you at Ambridge Italian Villa. Enjoy favorite foods of Bavarian heritage through the end of October at the place that's famous for bringing the best food from around the world home to Duss Avenue in Ambridge. For a limited time, you can literally take a food tour of most of Europe from the menu at Ambridge Italian Villa. That's because in addition to their famous Italian and Greek selections, the Ambridge Italian Villa will feature German Oktoberfest specials, all available for dine-in, takeout, and even delivery service. Call 724-266-1919 for more information about Oktoberfest specials. It's all going on now during Oktoberfest at Ambridge Italian Villa.
Ambridge Italian Villa, a family tradition with the taste sensation.
There's something for everybody this semester at CCBC. Whether you're leveling up a career or launching a new life, CCBC has got you covered. In fact, CCBC is straight to you. Your local library is now a CCBC classroom. Build career skills and earn college credit right in your backyard. Check out credit and non-credit classes starting in the near future. Click ccbc.edu/fall for more information. Right place, right time. CCBC is right where you need them this fall.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on when you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112. They'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
return for our final segment of this edition of the Coach's Corner. Thanks again to Pizza Joe's and Beaver for providing their refreshments as they do each and every week. Coach Gino DeMarco, looking back on your career, and you spent many years in the NAIA, and almost overnight you built a winning program, and you had the running backs where you could emphasize the running game. Willie Murray from nearby New Brighton, Melvin Cobbs, and then later on Gerard Machete, and then Trayvon Marshall in more recent years. It seemed like after the Murrays and the Cobbs left, you got into more of a passing routine. You had Zach Hayward, a couple other
we tried that.
But then in more recent years, you're figuring, okay, we got to get back to running the ball. And maybe the timing wasn't right because Amos Luptak, who might run your running game as good as any quarterback that I've seen you coach, at least in my opinion, but he might not have the great running back, though, that he can count on. He doesn't have a Marshall or a Murray or a Cobbs or a Machete. Good backs, but not guys who's going to be always on the highlight reel. So the timing there, and I think what you're doing now, I think for a while there, you were saying, okay, the kids that we need to get, we're going to run that triple option, and we're going to do it until we can't do it anymore. Now I get the sense, though, that you're at least making the pass part of your offense, that it's not just something that you do in an emergency. You got Peyton Shell, who's done a good job this year. You have Hilton McLean, who's got a lot of potential as a freshman. Do you agree, Coach, or you think you're finding like maybe a happy medium there?
Well, you got to be balanced, okay? And it's hard to say that when you're a triple option team because you want to run the ball, And there are times when, I can hear Coach Flory in my voice or in my ear saying, "Why are you throwing the ball? Just keep running the thing. If it works, just keep running it." I mean, or Coach Arquino, if you're running the ball, if it's working, keep doing it. I mean, until they stop it. And the favorite thing is just run it again. But you get into situations where now in today's defenses and in today's environment as far as recruiting, you got to be able to throw the football. And that was the exciting thing about coming into this season. We felt like we've finally got two wideouts that can become threats down the field, and they are. And we've got some young guys in the running back positions that we think are home run hitters. I do believe we got some young guys, and they just have been injured. Tyler Lippiad you can give him the ball 40 times a game, and that kid will just keep doing this and keep banging it. But it's hurt us because of the injuries that we've had in our backfield to be able to put fresh legs in there, and we've got some younger kids that are home run hitters.
I get the sense, and again, this is just me, I'm just telling you what I feel, that in essence, when this whole thing began with going to this offense in particular, it was by, in essence, necessity.
Yes.
We feel like we have to do this to be competitive.
Yes.
We're as competitive as we can be.
Yes.
But I don't get the sense that has evolved now, and it's no longer by necessity. I really like what the variables that I can play with here, and I like the fact that we can do different things out of this look, and we're getting a different kind of player than a lot of other players are getting. You're a sales guy. It's a niche. It's a niche that you feel like, hey, this is no longer a necessity. I think we have an advantage competitively here. Am I wrong in my perception?
No, you're spot on, and you're absolutely 100% correct that we went to it because out of necessity. And one of the reasons why is offensive linemen. And here's an issue. Before, we recruited mainly, and within 2 hours from campus, and with so many Division II schools that look at kids that are 6'3", and if a kid's 6'3" as an offensive lineman, they're going to get offered by one of the Division II schools. So those kids we got before in the NAI, now that doesn't work for us. We don't get those kids. So what do? You get a lot of 6'1" kids that love to lift weights, they'll come off the ball and smack you in the mouth. So we went to that approach because we felt that that gave us an advantage because nobody was doing it. Well, now, looking at this offense as one that's explosive, we're actually going no huddle, pushing it down the field, where if I would ever thought about, and we started this in the spring.
How much did it take to kind of get you on board, so to speak? Because you guys started kind of like thinking about doing this as a staff, correct? And then kind of went to clinics and stuff and experimenting, or take me through that.
Well, you know what's really interesting is a coach that I met with. He was actually the offense coordinator with the Steelers one year, and he was a head coach at Dallas, and just a really good guy. Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey coached Division III football in Georgia, Division II ball, whatever it was. And I'll never forget, this is 20 years ago, because we were recruiting his son, and we were talking about some things. And I said, what would you do if you were back in college? He says, I'd run the triple option, and I'd go no huddle, hurry up. And it's taken us now 5-6 years for us to start to get into that. And the hurry up came out of necessity because basically it allows that defense, allows us to see that defense, and they don't get a chance to give us three different looks. The thing is, we just need to execute. That's why what Grove City did strategically, they really did a good job. And I got on the phone with everybody that I know. We now know how to block it. So,
Coach, we could go on for a while, but time's running thin. Always appreciate the visit. You have your bye week. Enjoy it and get back out on the field. You got a tough one against Case Western next Saturday. Of course, we'll have it on Beaver County Radio and the Golden Tornado Football Network. 12:30 pregame and a 1 o'clock kickoff. Coach, best of luck. Hopefully you can right the ship and maybe push for, who knows, what could be a winning season. And if you can run the table, I know that won't be easy, but Coach, good luck. I know you'll bounce back strong.
And again, to use a cliche that coaches use and you guys in the media hate hearing, we're going to take it one game at a time.
I'm not taking any games this time. I'll be thinking about you guys on the deck overlooking the ocean this week, Coach. You get them ready.
I can't believe you're going in the middle of football season after the loss we had. The body's not even cold. I mean, the loss that we just had at Grove City, and you're out golfing.
You know what? We'll table this. This looks like Geraldo's going to be the host of this rhubarb. No, we got to end it. But thanks again to Malik Garrett, our producer, Pizza Joe's, and for Jason Colangelo and our special guest, Gino DeMarco.
I'm not special anymore, Bob. Tell them the truth.
All right, if they win in 2 weeks, he'll be a special guest. No, we always appreciate the visit. That'll do it for us. We'll talk to you from Rochester and our
Torn Aliquippa. Where's it at?
Yeah, Aliquippa.
At Carl A. Ashman?
How can that slip my mind? Carl A. Ashman, 6:30 air time, and we'll talk to you from industry at noon on Saturday. Geneva with the off week. We'll catch up with him the following Saturday. For all of us, by Barrickman. Good night from Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.